This is One Sentence News, a daily podcast featuring 3 news stories with a sentence-long summary and 1 sentence of context apiece. I'm Colin Wright. This is a sponsored message. I've been using Anchor as my podcast host for a while now, and it's been a pleasure to use. Anchor offers benefits that most other hosts do not. It's free to use, but it also has a collection of tools that allow you to create a podcast completely within the Anchor website or smartphone app. They distribute your show to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the other distribution channels without any additional effort on your part, and you can make money from your podcast without any minimum audience size. So you can use it as a more traditional podcast host like I do, but it's also got everything you need to start a podcast from scratch. If you're keen to give it a shot, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. It's Tuesday, December 13th, 2022. Let's talk about the news. From the Associated Press, 4 hit with corruption charges over EU lobbying scandal. Following at least 20 police raids across Brussels last week, 6 people have been held for questioning and 4 have been charged with corruption in connection with a lobbying scandal that allegedly involves bribes from Qatari officials. About $1 million in cash has been confiscated, and 10 parliamentary officials have had their technology access frozen. The details of this story are still in the process of seeping out, and we don't even know for certain that the Qataris were involved, as the official announcement accuses an unnamed Persian Gulf country of influence peddling at the European Parliament, and the Qataris have said they're not connected to any illegal activities. But we do know that among those 4 who were charged are now former European Parliament Vice President Eva Kaili, her partner, who is a parliamentary assistant, and the head of a Brussels-based union. Again, the details are still fuzzy here, but this is being described by those in the know as the biggest EU scandal in recent history, and it may continue to expand in scope and perceived importance in the coming days and weeks as the full extent of it becomes clear. From the Financial Times, Europe's next generation of weather satellites set for launch. The first of 3 European satellites that will provide 50 times more weather data to ground-based operators than current offerings is scheduled to be launched today, setting the stage for higher accuracy forecasts in the coming years. These satellites, among other things, will provide fully updated images of all of Europe every 2.5 minutes, and will allow experts to accurately predict conditions up to 2 hours in the future, making ultra-local severe weather warnings more effective and timely. And from the Washington Post, COVID spreads and medical staff sicken after China relaxes restrictions, surprising pretty much everyone. The Chinese government announced last week, shortly after some significant anti-lockdown protests, that it would begin to roll back its draconian pandemic measures, and as its new, lighter-weight rules have come into effect, infection numbers have skyrocketed, hospitals and clinics have been overwhelmed, and dire predictions about what might happen next have proliferated. The big concern here is that because China's COVID-0 approach to the pandemic involved isolating people rather than inoculating them, relatively few people are vaccinated, even fewer have had booster shots, and the shots that are available are generally less effective than those available elsewhere. And because the isolation approach was relatively effective against earlier pre-Omicron infection waves, few people have any latent immunity against COVID, making this sudden dropping of all regulations a big gamble, as millions of people could become sick, even badly sick, all at once, putting significant pressure on the country's medical and social systems, and further depleting China's already struggling economic infrastructure. If you're finding some value in One Sentence News, consider leaving a quick review wherever you get your podcasts and/or sharing the show with a friend. You can find out more about this show or subscribe to the email version at onesentencenews.com, and you can support this and other related projects like the Let's Know Things and Brain Lenses podcasts at understandery.com.